I want to talk to you about one of the most important tools. Now, the last time I talked about handshakes and how important a handshake is. And you can go back and watch that one. And so we have two other tools. I'm going to call it two other tools. It's really one tool, but it's two in my mind. And the first tool is the mind, and the second is the brain. Okay? The brain is the physical manifestation of the body that holds the mind. At least that's what we think. No pun intended. There are quantum physicists that don't agree with that and believe that consciousness does not originate in the brain. The brain is more of a radio, and it's a receiver of consciousness. That's an interesting idea. I mean, I could see how that works. I could see how in different shamanic circles all around the world they come to that exact same conclusion. That makes sense to me. But for our discussion, I'm going to call them two separate things. I'm going to say the mind is a little bit woo, a little bit spooky, and the brain's the physical object. Now, I'll do the brain in another discussion because there's stuff about the brain that people don't get. But I want to talk about the mind. The mind is the creative part of consciousness. The mind is consciousness. The mind is all sorts of things. It's probably not all consciousness. Consciousness is a thing and the mind is part of it. That's different. Creativity is so important. And it's something that we as a species, I fear we're missing a lot of it. You know, creative solutions in gaming are wonderful. And gaming, I don't do it. I don't play video games. I've railed against them, but I actually think that they have a lot of benefit. Abstract thought is a good thing. However, just like going to the gym, which I actually need to do, all things in moderation, you know. You run all the time, you don't recover, you don't eat, you don't rest, you're not going to get better. The same thing is with gaming. If you don't have face-to-face human interactions, if you're not engaged in the physical world in a dynamic way, you're not developing creative mind. Like, it's so important to have a creative mind. What I do for a living is art. I'm a tattoo artist. I'm an artist. It's what I've done my whole life. I haven't always done it as a job, but you know, for the better part of 20 years, I've done this, and I love it. And people all the time, and I'm going to call them to the floor, and it's with love, I do this, they're full of shit because they say stuff like, oh, I wish I could do that. You're so talented. Talent's bullshit, folks. Talent's bullshit, okay? There's a reason why in porn they call young, attractive people who are good at sex the talent. It's because it's ironic. Because it's not so much that they're talented. It's that they're some weird ideal for somebody to beat their meat to, okay? Let's be fair. You know, the creative mind needs to be nurtured, okay? Life is not all about memorizing facts. Facts and data are the operating system for the mind. You know, if you go to school and you have gotten all the way to the point where you're in college and you think the point is to memorize information so you can regurgitate it, then you have missed the point. The point is to give the mind the best operating system possible. That's why you need those tools. It's also why you don't need those tools if you're not using those tools. But we don't use our brains anymore, and we certainly don't use our minds the way we should. So look, people say, like, what you do, I wish I could do it. Let me tell you something. What I do is 100% in the mind. How I do it is a skill. It's a craft. It's a fucking trick that a monkey could learn. It's not impressive, I'm sorry. And people always say, but it is. No, it isn't. Go talk to Yo-Yo Ma. Go grab that guy and ask him if you have to have special abilities to play the cello. If you think he was just born that way. I would think if he doesn't laugh in your face, he's being polite. That man is brilliant as a cellist because he put his soul into that shit. That person sat down and worked and worked and worked diligently, reassessing every single thing he was doing. He used his tools, and he did that. It's not talent. Talent's bullshit, kids. Talent's nonsense. Talent is when a monkey takes the smart part of the brain and it combines it with the dream part of the mind. And it combines those things with a skill or craft that it learned how to do with its hands to make something. You can do that shit. It's not, this isn't, it's not magic. If it is, it's stage magic, and you're impressed by it, but it's a silly monkey trick. What I did was I went and I learned how to take a tool, because I'm a monkey that makes tools, and I said, oh, this tool, this implement leaves marks on paper. That's fun. I wonder what it does if I do these marks. That's what that shit is. You watch artists draw. You ever talk to one artist? We're all freaks. You ever talk to one of us and you go like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I really like the way, this line like curves. It's this, and it does that. It's so fucking sexy. And you're like, the fuck is wrong with this guy? That guy, girl, it's universal, guy, dude, whatever. I'm from Boston. No, I'm not. This is a terrible accent. They just learned how to do this. And what they're watching is what you watch when you throw, Tom Brady throws a football. Or, you watch somebody do something well with a NASCAR. You watch a scientist put the space shuttle in orbit. Nobody pays attention to that shit. I don't even think they send the space shuttle up anymore. And you're watching someone who has used those three tools to a great level of skill do their thing. And when you're not watching them make a complete thing, that's the shit they do. That's it, kids. But that's the mind. That's them exercising the mind. You go, they're fucking weird. Yeah, nerds are fucking weird. Nerds sit around and they calculate shit. They learn how to solve Rubik's Cubes faster than other people. Because that's cool. It's cool when you can fucking bench press 400 pounds. It's cool when you can play a flute with so much skill that it transcends being an instrument and becomes part of the human soul. It's cool when you can do a fucking triple bypass on a human heart, on a preemie. I don't know why you need to do that. I'm not a doctor, but you know what I'm saying? Like, all those things are art. But no one looks at a surgeon and go, you've got talent. I mean, they do, but a surgeon who's got talent will go, yeah, I work my ass off, and I use my brain constantly, and I'm diligent and self-critical. You can do it. I learned how to make marks. That's all that shit is marks. I don't give a fuck how complicated something is. You look at something that's a drawing, simplify it down. If you don't see any lines, it's just shading. It's somebody sitting there and going, a little lighter, a little lighter, a little lighter. I screwed that up, all right, I'll fix it here. That's all that is. That's it. And you're like, well, it's really impressive. No, it isn't. This monkey learned how to make this tool go this in such a consistent manner. This will become useful later in my teen years. In such a consistent manner that I was able to get a nice even plane of gray. Wow. If you did it on a porch and you're like, I'm painting a porch, look at the lace stain, little lighter, little lighter, little lighter. I'm the man. No one's gonna pay you to do it unless that's something that they need done. People look at this and they go, that's amazing. No, it isn't. That's a monkey trick. Well, I don't know how you'd come up to do it. Aha. How you'd learn how to do that would be watching other monkeys. You watch other monkeys do monkey tricks and you go, how'd that monkey do that? I'm gonna do that. Because you can do it the other way. You can start from the beginning and go, oh, I can make a mark, now what? That's gotta mean something. What if we made marks that were also representative of sounds that we made with our mouth? Then we can make language. I probably should just learn a language instead, huh? Well, art's the same way. Music is the same way. You're learning a language. That's not the creative part. The creative part is when you take that and you combine it with things you've seen, ideas, concepts, feelings, and you go, maybe it's like this. Aha, that's imagination. Everything you like about the world, all the shit that you think is cool, guess where it came from? That's right, some creative weirdo, some fruity character, someone like me, Liberace, who the fuck knows? Somebody who sat around and went, yeah, you know, I've smoked a lot of questionable substances and I think I need a downhill bike that does this. And they're just got enough brain entry and enough creativity to make that shit happen. And now you have the best downhill, bike on the planet. That's how this shit works. But we as modern human beings don't use this stuff. We used it in our evolutionary pattern to feed ourselves, to attract a mate, to fill in gaps, to tell stories. Oh boy, are those important. You want to talk about a tool that human beings couldn't do without? Storytelling. But it's all imagination. Use your imagination. It's one of your best tools. And if you're not using it, then you owe yourself the opportunity to use it. You can go watch things or you can read books. That's fine. That's like training your imagination. If you want to do that, you can. You can train your brain to think a certain way. Or, if you want to really get into it, you can let that dog off the chain. Let him run. Let him run. Let him stumble, let him fall. He might get hit by a car. Shit happens. Let your brain off the chain. Let your imagination run. Because when it does, you're going to start to see the world differently. You're going to start to think about the world differently. Last but not least, I'll say this. People inadvertently, almost always in movies, love Plato's allegory at the cave. They love it. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, movies like The Matrix are a classic example. People who are prisoners don't know they're prisoners, and then somehow they become aware, they become enlightened, they reach divine thought just through pure will. And they can break free of the bonds that hold them back and become almost like gods. What do you think they're talking about? That's the imagination. People are trying to break out of the Matrix. They think this shit isn't real. Dude, the Matrix is the conformity that you sit in the world with that tells you not to think, not to be creative, not to dance, not to sing, not to laugh, not to love, those fucking things. That's the Matrix. The Matrix tells you to be afraid of people. The Matrix tells you that Muslims are bad and guns are dangerous and trans people are here to rape your children and that if you eat meat, you're gonna fucking die. That's the Matrix. The Matrix is there to tell you that this is how you are supposed to live your life, and these are the things you're supposed to like, and this is the shit that's supposed to make you happy. The Matrix is the thing that replaces community with the illusion of happiness through control. Just take another pill, just watch this TV show, just smile, and it'll all be fine. The most dangerous thing in the world is a mind that just realized it needed to wake up. Not to somebody else's reality, but to its own creativity. And you have the potential to do that, but you have to do it. And you're not gonna get that from watching TV. You gotta go out and be in the world, be part of it, use your brain creatively. It's so important. If we're gonna make the world a better place, it's not gonna be through voting or banning things or anything else. It's gonna be through remembering what we are. We're tool makers. We need to use our tools. Remember, shaking hands, measuring tools. The brain's your number one tool. The imagination is the tool that's gonna break the bonds and set you free. Let's do that. Go daydream. And don't spend all your time doing it, but write them down and share them. Share your ideas. Share your creativity. Do cool shit. If you don't have a use for it, don't fucking pack it away and say, someday I'll make money off that shit. Fuck that. If you're really into things, you want things to be even, you like the idea of, I like socialism, it ain't gonna work. Well, you know what does work? What Elon Musk, not Elon Musk, what's his name? Elon Musk's company is named Tesla, Nikola Tesla. Share your ideas, man. Share your ideas. You don't need a law to make people do it. Your ideas are good. You share your ideas, then you're doing something called leadership. You're sharing. You're starting some of the first, most important parts of leadership. You're sharing. No expectation, that's charity. I want the world to be a better place. I am going to share knowledge. I'm gonna help share the better update to the operating system of the brain so that your mind can be more free. Let's do more of that. All right, peace out.